Chapter 3 Must Be Seeing Things. Alright, the two of you can talk later. Yanran, your sister just returned. Let her have some rest, Lan Qingyang said with a smile. Oh, I was so happy I forgot. Lan Yingran stuck his tongue out playfully, pulling Lan Anrang as he ran towards the house. Sis, hurry, and follow me. The room Dad and Mom decorated for you is really beautiful. Lan Anran allowed him to pull her forward. She wasn't annoyed even though he kept rushing her. The interior of the Lan family villa was simple and elegant, and the servants were well trained. When they saw the both of them, they bowed slightly to greet them. They weren't indifferent or overly enthusiastic, which made Lan Anran feel at ease. In her past life, she had no intention of staying in the Lan family villa, and wouldn't even have felt the respect and care from the servants. Now that she thought about it, this was because she had just returned to the Lan family. Before she came, the servants would have been warned to speak carefully. After all, they didn't know Lan Anran's preferences. It wouldn't be very good to offend her, causing her to dislike the Lan family. But before she had time to think about that, Lan and Yanran had dragged her up to the second floor towards the door of the room her parents had prepared for her. Sis, hurry and open the room for me to see. Mom and Dad said that this is your room. They even banned me from playing inside. Lan Yanran was filled with curiosity. The whole family was overjoyed ever since they heard that his sister was coming back. His mom personally decorated the room, and his dad was tasked to buy various supplies, and he was forbidden from entering. With his sister around, they weren't going to only love him anymore, but he was very happy as well. He secretly bought lots of plush toys with his New Year's money and had hidden them in his room, waiting to give it to his sister. A big surprise when she returned. Lan Anran stood by the door, listening to her brother's happy chatter. She took a deep breath and pushed the door open. When the pink interior came to view, Lan Anran subconsciously widened her eyes, not able to make a single sound in front of the princess-themed room. The floor was covered with a fluffy pink carpet that were thoughtfully arranged into different shapes for the different regions of the room. The walls were pink, with little heart patterns, and a white closet extended up to the ceiling. On the other side was a pink desk with a white trim and a white laptop placed on top. Beside the desk was a small balcony. She could vaguely see a hanging basket and various plants. The most striking thing in the entire bedroom was the pink princess bed. There were pink curtains on the bed which hung from the ceiling, and when a breeze blew, there was a faint gleam from the diamond fragments stitched onto the curtain. The bedside table was also pink with a European-style bedside lamp on it. Wow, isn't it beautiful? Lan Yanran explained in an exaggerated manner. Mom is treating you like a princess. Lan Anran's eyes were slightly moist. She thought about her past life. She rarely came back to the Lan family house, and when she did, she never came to this room that was prepared by her family. Instead, she would find a random guest room or rest in the servants' room. She was too silly. In order to decorate this room, her family must have put a lot of thought. Sis, after his excitement faded, Lan Yunran was suddenly a little upset. Since your room is so beautiful, would you still be interested in the gift I have for you? Why not? Lan Anran quickly recovered, smiling. I'm sure I will like it, whatever it is you prepared. Liar. Even though he was still sulking, the joy in Lan Yanrang's eyes couldn't be concealed. I promise, Lan said with a smile. What welcome gift did you prepare for me? Lan Yanran's eyes narrowed with a smile, and his mouth spread with joy. Sis, wait for me here. I'll get your gift now. He ran out of the moment he finished speaking. Yan Ran disappeared before she could stop him. She shook her head and slowly walked into the room. All the daily necessities she needed were in the room, and beside the closet, there was a small hidden door that led to a private toilet. Lan and Ran opened the closet casually, and a dazzling array of beautiful clothes popped into view. These must have been the clothes her mother personally picked out for her. Was she afraid that her daughter was suffering outside, or was she afraid that her daughter had an inferiority complex? How did her mother feel when she dragged her sickly body out to pick out all these clothes for her? Thinking of this, Lan and Rang suddenly felt that she should visit her mother in the hospital first, instead of coming to the Lan family house. Lan and Ran turned, walked out of the bedroom door, and walked down the stairs gracefully. The sight made Lan Yan Rang, who was following behind the pile of plush toys, dumbfounded. Who said that my sister is a country girl? She's obviously more elegant than everyone in Wrong City. She seems more like a well-bred young lady from a prestigious family. Sis, where are you going? Lan Yan ran hurriedly threw the plush toys in his hands to the servant following behind him. He was afraid he had done something to upset her, causing her to want to leave. Sis just arrived, and now she wants to leave? I must make her stay. Lan Yanran hurriedly followed Lan and Ran downstairs. He wasn't paying attention and accidentally twisted his ankle. Ouch! Ouch! Yanran, what's wrong? How did you fall? Is it? A familiar voice suddenly asked with concern. Lan Anran was prepared to turn around to help her brother, but when she heard this voice, her expression suddenly changed. The sinister expression frightened Lan Yanran, and he subconsciously moved back to hide. Lan Anran recovered and hurriedly arranged her emotions. She stepped forward and helped Yanran up. Sis, you? Lan Yanran looked at his worried sister in front of him and felt that the sinister expression he saw must have been a mistake. My sister is beautiful and gentle. How could she have shown such a terrible expression? I must be seeing things. Chapter 4. I'll marry if you want me to. Yan Ran, are you okay? I was deep in thought and didn't realize you were following behind me. Lan and Ran looked at her brother guiltily. If she had paid more attention or if she slowed down, Yan Ran wouldn't have fallen down the stairs. It's okay, sis. It's just a sprain. Look, it's alright. Lan Yanran wanted to jump up a few times to show that he was alright, but he wasn't stable and the injured ankle started to hurt again. Just as Lan Yanran was about to say something, someone interrupted again. The two of you have such a good relationship. Although Anran caused Yanran to sprain his ankle, he still likes to stick to his sister. Big brother, you're so blessed. The brother who spoke was Shu Yan Chan, Lan Anran's second aunt. In her past life, Anran regarded Shu Yan Chan as a close family member, thinking that she cared and loved her. Who knew? Lan Anran lowered her hand, not wanting others to see the hatred in her eyes. But Shu Yan Chan mistakenly thought she was a timid person that could be controlled easily. Shu Yan Chan rolled her eyes, walked 2 steps forward, and took Lan Anran's hand. Anran definitely didn't do it on purpose, right? The both of you are siblings, and anything that Yanran has, you do as well. You don't have to fight with your younger brother. Oh, right. Anran, since you just came back, do you need anything? Second aunt will buy it for you. In her past life, Anran thought that Shu Yanshan was treating her sincerely because of these favors, so she was extremely obedient with her. But now, Lan Anran took a step back in disgust and brushed Shu Yanshan's hand away. She turned around to help Yanran sit on a stool and said to Lan Tingyong, "Dad, who is she? Why is she claiming to be my relative when I don't know her?" Shu Yanshan waved her hand in embarrassment. "Brother, Anran." Lan Tingyong looked at Lan Anran's defensive expression and the hands that tightly guarded her younger brother. He laughed and cleared the air. "It's okay, Yanshan. Anran just came back and isn't familiar with you yet. She'll get used to you after more time." With that said, he pretended to be angry and said to Lan Anran, "She is your second aunt. Are you going to come over and apologize?" Lan Anran greeted Shu Lanshan reluctantly. "Second aunt." Although Shu Yanshan had scolded Lan Anran thousands of times in her heart, there wasn't a trace of it on her face. She just smiled and said, "Okay, okay. Anran is a good girl." As expected of a child raised in the countryside, she doesn't have any manners and can't even speak properly. Seeing Lan Anran ignore her after the greeting, Shu Yanshan grinded her teeth secretly. She just realized how pretty Anran was, much better looking than her own daughter. This was unacceptable to her. Her daughter was the cherished young lady of the Lan family. How could she be overshadowed by a village girl? Shu Yanshan had another idea. "Anran, your clothes look old. How about this? Since you just came back and no one prepared any clothes for you, why don't I bring some of your sister's clothes over for you to wear first? I'll take you shopping after you have settled down." Lan An shook her head seriously. "It's all right, second aunt. I have enough clothes, and they are in pretty good condition. In our village, other people can't even afford to wear such good clothes. Thank you for the thought." Lang Tingyong looked at the clothes she was wearing. The seams were worn with burrs, and they were deformed and discolored from too many washes. His eyes started to sting. This was his daughter, a little girl that should have been loved and pampered, but now she said that this worn dress was in good condition. Lan Tingyong could feel his heart ache, but before he could move, the little boy sitting next to Lan Anran suddenly threw himself into her arms, crying, "No, sis, you were so pitiful. I, I'll give you all my toy figures and my New Year's money. I'll buy you clothes. I must dress you up beautifully." Lan Tingyong nodded in agreement. "Yes, Anran, let your brother take you shopping. If you run out of money, come find me, and I'll buy it for you." Shu Yanshan looked at the scene in front of her with an ugly expression. She had always been eloquent, but now she was at a loss for words. She originally planned to bring old-fashioned and out-of-season clothes for Lan Anran, so that even if she was pretty, as long as her clothes were ugly, she would be the laughingstock, and her daughter would still be the number one beauty in Long City. But now that Lan Tingyong had spoken, she wouldn't be able to do anything in that aspect. "Okay, don't cry, Yanran. I'll be upset if you cry." Lan Anran comforted Lan Yanran softly and patted his shoulders. Does your leg still hurt? Why don't you let me have a look?" "Brother, look, they have such a good relationship even though they just met. You don't have to worry about it anymore." Shu Yanshan didn't give up and spoke ruefully. "Your goal of bringing Anran back will definitely be fulfilled." Lan Anran's eyes flickered, but she did not take the bait. She knew that Shu Yanshan was definitely waiting to ambush her, but now she was reborn. How could she let her succeed so easily? Lan Yanran listened and asked without much thought, "What is it? What is Dad's goal for bringing my sister back?" "Of course, it is to let her lead a comfortable life with us." "Yanran, you must not be aware." When Shu Yanshan saw that both siblings were looking at her, she was satisfied but still had a sorrowful expression. "I'm sure that you have heard that recently the Lang group is facing some problems." The Mo family is powerful and extremely wealthy, and we, the Lan family, happen to be family friends. Our two old masters once made a marriage arrangement. Shu Yanshan's eyes flickered, and she looked at Lan Anran with a gentle gaze. You were brought back to be engaged with the young master of the Mo family. Your father is doing this for your benefit. Since the Mo family is so rich, you will definitely lead a blessed life after marrying into the family. Our family will also benefit from the marriage. Yanshan, what nonsense are you saying in front of the children? Lan Young's face was nervous, and a trace of panic flashed in his eyes. In her past life, Lan Anran was in a mess when she first heard the news from Shu Yanshan. She thought her father didn't love her, and just wanted to force her to marry the young master of the Mo family for a good price. She was furious and had wreaked havoc in the house. But in reality, her father's panicked expression was because he was afraid she was angry, and he didn't tell her about it beforehand. Lan Anran lowered her head in silence. Anran. Lan Young was very nervous. Unexpectedly, Lan Anran suddenly raised her head and smiled. It's all right. I'll marry if you want me to. Chapter 5. Suffering, let them have a taste. Lan Anran appeared generous and didn't seem unwilling at all. Lan Young was moved by her words. Anran, you... Lan Anran glanced at Lan Young with a look of admiration and said, I don't believe you would have hurt me. You are our big tree and will keep us safe. Okay, good girl. Don't worry, I will make you proud. Lan Young looked at his clear-eyed daughter with a touch of heartache. He was so upset and proud at the same time for having such a sensible daughter. Shu Lanshan, who saw this scene, was furious. Today, when she heard that her brother had brought Lan Anran back, she had rushed over in hopes to ruin their father-daughter relationship. In the end, it backfired, and she ended up bringing them closer. Shu Yanshan clenched her fist, but maintained a smile on her face. She had said softly, When I came, I was afraid that Anran would be unsensible and annoy you, but I don't have to worry now. And I've seen your harmonious relationship. But second on, why did you seem unhappy? Lan Anran kept her smile and looked at Shu Yanshan coldly. How could that be? Of course I'm happy. Shu Yanshan laughed awkwardly. I shall not disturb your family reunion. I have something to do and will leave right away. Lan Anran watched as Shu Yanshan escaped, and a sneer lifted the corners of her mouth. In her past life, Shu Yanshan had appeared close to her, complimenting her in various ways and treating her kindly. But in reality, she had been indulging her and teaching her to behave impudently. Shu Yanshan praised her regardless of what she did, causing her to become arrogant and selfish, committing all kinds of irreparable mistakes. Since she had a chance to relive this lifetime, she wouldn't let those malicious people off so easily. She would give them a taste of their suffering she had endured. But before that, Dad, let's visit Mom at the hospital. I haven't seen her yet, Lan Anran said carefully. Ah, sure. But you just came back. Don't you want to rest? Lan Young looked at his obedient daughter with heartache. He wanted Anran to visit her mother, but hadn't mentioned it as he was afraid she would be too tired from all the traveling. It's all right, Dad. I'm in good health. I just want to see her soon. Lan Anran said, mild. Then I'm going too. I want to see Mom too. Lan Yanrang suddenly stood up and said, Yanrang, is your leg okay? Lang Tingyang looked at his leg and frowned. It'll be all right. Dad, you and Yanrang wait here. I'll be right back. Lan Anran turned and ran upstairs. When she and Yanrang went to her bedroom just now, she left her small backpack there. A few minutes later, Lan Anren ran down carrying her small bag and a small white box in her hand. She knelt on one knee in front of Lan Yanran and carefully placed Yanran's feet on her knees. She dug a small piece of green paste from the white box in her hand and gently smeared it over Yanran's ankle. This is an ointment gifted to me by the people from the village. It is especially effective for treating bruises and sprains. Lan Yanran explained quietly, slowly rubbing the palm of her hand around Yanran's ankle. Yanran, see if it still hurts. Lan Yanran stood up skeptically, slowly placed his feet on the ground and stepped lightly. It doesn't hurt anymore, Dad. My ankle doesn't hurt anymore. This ointment is very useful. Lan Tingyung looked at Lan Anrung with a complex expression. His daughter surprised him so much today. All right, let's go visit Mom. At this moment, young master, I'm sorry, I have not found the person named Zero. The incoming person lowered his head in a depressed manner. Continue the search. The man was good-looking. His amorous eyes were slightly raised, revealing light brown pupils with a lowering aura. Yes. The incoming person did not say much, but bowed slightly and left. Master Wang, you're still searching for Zero? It's been so many years. Perhaps this person may have died. A flippant voice came from the side. In the direction of the sound was a man in his 20s. His hair dyed in an arrogant shade of silver, with a shiny black earring on his left ear. That's impossible, the man replied calmly. Why? The arrogant man asked curiously. Because his eyes were extremely bright. There was something else he hadn't said. There wasn't much reason. He had a hunch that the person was younger than him. All right, you're the boss. Everything you say is right. Hey, where are you going? The arrogant man asked when he saw the person in front of him stand. A hospital. Mrs. Land's ward was in the VIP area on the 13th floor. Lan Tingyung brought his two children all the way up and soon reached Mrs. Land's room. Dad, you can go in with Yanran first. I need the toilet, Lan Yanran said suddenly. Lan Tingyung didn't think too much about it and replied casually. All right, go ahead. We'll be waiting in Mom's room. Lan Anran watched as her father and brother disappeared into the ward before turning towards the toilet. She didn't really need the toilet, but when she stood outside her mother's ward, she suddenly felt too ashamed to meet her. Her mother was such a gentle woman, but Lan Anran was in a daze as she stood in front of the mirror. She pursed her lips and splashed cold water onto her face. She savored the cooling sensation and felt herself calm down. She was back and no longer the bastard daughter that was bewitched by others. Her mother loved her and in return would never disappoint her mother's kindness again. Lan Anran's eyes were firm. She quickly cleaned herself up, adjusted to her best condition, and walked towards Madame Lan's ward gracefully and calmly. But within 2 steps she saw a man walking straight in her direction. The man was slender and tall, with a cold, handsome, and hard features, ebony eyebrows, cold, pale skin, a beautifully curved nose, a pair of chilling amorous eyes, and thin, pale, red lips that were tightly pressed together. It was Mo Jin Rong.